Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I'm super excited because I finally got all 6 of my red Duplo girder pieces, so that means I can build my big new red bridge. Ho ho! Well, this bridge has been quite a long time coming actually, in that it required me to get 6 of these rather fabulous girder pieces from the Duplo line of Lego. Part 51559 if you're interested, only available in red. And I needed 6 of them, as you can see, and well, to get them I had to go all over Europe. 2 orders at least from Europe and all the ones domestically at the time. And then, wouldn't you know it, just after I get them all, after great difficulty, getting basically the pictures down from the internet, I realised that 2 had just gone on sale in the UK for only £1.60 each. Isn't it always the way? Anyway, not to worry, I've got 6 of them myself, and they were quite hard to get because they're only available in 2 Duplo sets. 3774 Bridge, very imaginatively titled set there from 2005, so quite a way back, and 9212 Push Train set from 2006. Yeah, so you can imagine that after all this time, they've all found a home or, I don't know, been long forgotten about. In fact, it turns out there's actually a newer version of that piece for 2025, next year, in the new set 10426, Train, Bridge and Tracks. But I don't think that part would work anywhere near as well, because this one's got this lovely sort of straight flat bottom that's going to marry up with normal Lego bricks very well, whereas that seems to have the arch sort of suspended with a regular 2x2 Duplo brick on each end, which isn't going to work for my need at all. So yeah, I'm still glad that I managed to get all these older ones. And it always amuses me when I see a Duplo set like that looks really sort of intricate and involving lots of cool pieces. And I think, you know, young kids aren't demanding that, are they? These sets are for dads to play kind of a fat controller with their child's Duplo train set, if you ask me. Sir Topham Hatt here, playing with my child's Duplo Lego set. Got to make it better. We need more bridges and things like that. I would be guilty of that, I must admit. Anyway, the principle for this build was basically producing a bridge that was a bit more interesting than the grey one that I had in my old city. I had a grey one and a blue one. I'm going to keep the blue one, but I'm going to extend it a bit because we're going to have a wider gap for Brick Bay this time round. But the grey one was just a bit boring. So I was trying to look at different pieces I could use. And although these are very big clunky pieces, I thought a lot of them en masse could look amazing. And I think I'm right. Anyway, it also made me think of the Forth Bridge in Scotland, which is a great big cantilever railway bridge across the Firth of Forth, very near Edinburgh. That was completed at the very end of the 19th century and is actually a World Heritage Site now. And that kind of looks more like having one of these sort of upside down and one on top for each section, almost, with a little sort of bridgey bit in between each pair. But that would make this very high indeed, and well, I need it about that high essentially, so that wasn't really going to work. So what I'm going to do instead is just have 1 row of these on each side, so 3 by 3 effectively, with train track in the middle where Robin is. If I'd needed 12, then it would have been even harder to get all of the bits together, I'm sure. So yeah, that was probably a good idea. And then the next challenge after deciding what I was going to do was how to do it, because if you think about regular rail pieces and Duplo pieces, well, they don't go together very well. And there's only 2 places I could really fit this, either with the rail kind of fitting on top of the Duplo piece, but then you've got these nasty little sort of curved corner bits I didn't want to have to chop into with a knife that would only fit in between sleepers, so it could still technically work and be connected on the underside there and the underside there. One option, or to have it just sort of resting on top of these connected with other pieces. And the other complication, of course, is that it comes back in at the top as well. So yeah, we can't have this clashing with any trains, and I don't want to make it too horrifically clunky. So yeah, those are the design challenges I had. And in fact, when I was actually trying to design this, I was using LDD, Lego Digital Designer, that I still use. And, well, obviously these parts aren't in it. So I had to basically kind of construct one of these out of other bricks and put them into a group so it would be movable around and then play around with it that way. But I think I've got a good outcome in the end. So, yeah, that is what we're going to build today. And I'm hoping it will be strong, look good, and, well, a train will fit on it. That's probably the most important one. So let's get started. All right, well, this is pretty much all of the parts I need for half of my bridge build. Everything's pretty much done twice, so I'll just run you through half of it. And yeah, you can imagine how the other half would have gone. First of all, I'll start with the stanchion, one of the great big sort of meaty looking legs that will be holding this whole heavy looking bridge up. And I hope to have basically base plates, then coloured plates with all different colours for the depth perception, underneath a load of transparent coloured tiles now for all of my water area, which is a bit of a commitment because there's an absolute vast amount of it. I'm going to try it first of all in my marina area, so I've got a way to escape if not, and this sort of stanchion base will work in either system, but essentially it'll either just dip into the tile level a little bit, or it'll just sit on top of a blue base plate. So yeah, it's not dependent on whether that system really works or not. But the next step is these lovely great big red cylinder pieces from that Monkey Kid set of the rocket, and they look absolutely great. Look like they could take a great deal of weight, and then just held together very lightly at the top with tile, because that's going to fit in between two of the sleepers. Basically, wherever I put it, it'll work something like that. We can pretty much decide exactly where the legs will go depending on how it looks. Maybe at the join of two of these sections, maybe slightly off to make it look a bit broader, I don't know. But either way, that will fit very well. And I did one of those earlier. Lovely. So we've got two great big legs. And then we can start on the main span, of which I've done in two different sides. And much like all of my bridges, I use Technic beams, partially because they look very industrial and go with the hard-looking sort of iron bridge look, but also because they provide a lot of actual real strength. And I've got a Technic pin pretty much every other hole, which is probably overkill. And we've got red colour for where we'll see it, and grey, which will be kind of buried within the build where we won't. And that's just because I had a lot of grey already. You could technically use any old colour you wanted. And then the first level is just to do a load of 2x3 and 2x4 plates kind of on the outside like this. I'm only going to do a section live because otherwise I'll be here for ages, kind of hanging off. And that's because the train track pieces are going to basically mesh with that, you see, on the outside and form a complete plate layer. And that 4 breadth there is going to marry up with the 2 Duplo studs, which are all double the scale if you don't know. So these are basically 2x12, I think, which means that they'll be really 4x24 in Lego. So yeah, this has to be quite long as a result, and that is producing the kind of bed for them to sit on, and the track will obviously continue off either end of the bridge. And then underneath here, I can add some inverted slopes basically, except to give it a bit of a corrugated look, I'm going to have a 2x2 plate underneath every other one. So we can have one on a plate, one not, one on a plate, one not, and then that looks kind of more interesting, I hope. Then in the middle, I'm going to have one of these pieces just to make it a little bit different again. And on the end, if I can find one, yeah, I've got these kind of corner ones as well. And that will conceal all of the grey bricks on the inside by the time we're finished. And it'll look like that, but be a lot longer. And then we can kind of piece all the different bits together. So yeah, quite a simple build in a way, but quite an effective one. I think this corrugation of the red pieces will look really good from a distance. Yeah, very nice indeed. Cool. So I'm going to go along here and do all of this, and then I'm going to do the whole thing again. Joy. All right, so I've got all of those sections built, and now we can piece it all together with the camera nice and high for a good view, but it's right in front of my face, which makes it kind of hard for me, but we'll see how it goes. If I knock the camera a few times, that'll be why. So here is our long section with that corrugated bottom and the grey bricks kind of hidden on the inside. You won't be able to see that from underneath. And it's just a bit of interest really with that bit in the middle looking even more interesting, kind of like a, I don't know, central joining plate. Maybe they built it from both sides and linked there in the middle. But yeah, looking pretty strong as well. And I've got this bit of track with sleepers attached, just pulled off my floor for integration with this. We might need to take it apart and sort of move it so it's got the right sort of positioning. And that's quite good actually. So it does mean it's very flexible with wherever my track ends up popping out to get into this thing. So the idea is that that will press down into all of these sections and become ridiculously strong. Now, it might be that we don't want wooden sleepers on this, because if it's a steel bridge, then, well, it probably wouldn't have wooden sleepers. I know most sleepers nowadays aren't wooden anyway, but I kind of like the look of it when it's against green backdrop. So I might have to take all of these 2x4 tiles off in reddish brown and replace them with dark bluish grey or something like that that looks a bit more industrial. But, oh, golly, that's quite strong already. Hey, looking good. Let's do the other side as well. Make sure the two sides are actually lined up. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Oh, this one seems to be a bit harder to do at an angle. There we go, I'll do it like that. Golly, this will be strong. We'll have years and years of trains going over this. And I'm thinking it's probably going to have to be on my passenger line, actually, because, well, it's going to be quite enclosed with all these pieces on it, I think. So I think my passenger train generally are a bit more slim. I've got one of the biggest carriages to test this with in a minute. But yeah, I think it's going to be more appropriate for the passenger line, which means when you walk into the Lego room, you'll see the blue sort of rail-built bridge in front of this one, kind of silhouetted against the thicker red pieces, which I think is probably the right way around as well, because if we had it on the cargo line, which is on the outside, you'd see all these great big red pieces and they'd probably hide the blue behind. So I think that works on both levels, actually. So that is that. Let's leave the legs till last, but put these pieces on here. And this, oh, golly, oh, requires a bit of pushing on, because although they are the same geometry, it's kind of, I don't know, they're very inflexible. Oh, golly. Yeah, I have to push it down very firmly indeed. And I think it's going to look awesome. Oh, I've just got one bit popped out there. There we go. Push that back in. Oh, this is so cool. I knew this was going to look awesome, and I think I was right. And we've only got one side on. Hello, tell you what, let's turn this around. Since it's symmetrical, we'll do the same thing on this side. Oh, golly, you really need to push it down and get a bit of a workout here. Oh, that one's popped off. Oh, and the end's popped off. Come on, Duplo bits. Oh, that really doesn't help having the camera in the middle. There we go. Oh, there we go. One more to go. Hopefully this one doesn't pop anything else off. And it's just these end bits that need kind of pushing in when it's finished. And then, oh no, it's popped off again. I think when it's sort of fully on, it will be strong. But until then, oh, I've popped another one off. You can see it's sort of bending under the pressures. Does it work? Oh, this one's now come loose. Oh, right, I think it's all pressed in now. Oh, right, let me stand back and actually look at this thing. Wow, that is a brute, isn't it? That looks like it could carry a lot of weight, and it's going to have a puny little passenger train going across it. But wow, that is amazing. Now, let's put the legs on, shall we? So let's get them in position, and then we can kind of plonk it on top. Do we want them at the join? I won't push it firmly down yet. That one's just outside the join. And that one's just outside that join. How does that look? Does that look good? Well, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Shall I push that down? Ooh, that looks good. I've made very great care to get this spacing right for the height. So when it's on my sea level, the track still aligns perfectly with the land level. So there's basically seven brick height plus one plate difference between the two. So yeah, it has to be quite scientific. But yeah, wow, that looks amazing, doesn't it? Am I going to be able to show you it end on, or is it just too long? I think it's too long for this perspective. You kind of get the idea. Ooh, that's about as close as I can get to showing you. But yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? So it's quite cozy in there. I mean, arguably, I could have moved the girders one more stud apart from each other. So there's kind of 8 studs, but I thought this would be stronger because it's actually really holding those track pieces together with the Duplo bits. Now, the other problem I had was these great big lumps on the top, these Duplo studs. Now, I don't mind them in a way because they kind of look quite industrial, kind of like these kind of rivet points here, which aren't actual Duplo studs, but these ones are. And part of me thinks, yeah, just leave it. I kind of like that. That's fine. But then I did look at if there was such a thing as a tile in Duplo, and it kind of is, but I'm not sure I like them too much. But then there was also these pieces, and these were available on Lego Bricks and Pieces. So I thought, you know what? I'll get these. I'll need 6 of them. They weren't too ridiculously expensive. And they're quite nice, and they arguably look like they've got rivets in the top of them. Yeah, so what do you think of them? Now, they're actually cushions, seat cushions, and they're part 65110 if you want to try and do the same thing. And they were in 3 sets, including the Happy Childhood Moments from 2021. That's set 10943. Yeah, so I thought I could just put them on the top of this. So shall I just do, I don't know, the first pair? Is that too clunky now? I mean, this bit's quite clunky, so that bit's quite clunky, sort of marries up. Yeah, so we've got 2 different methods. You'll have to tell me which you prefer. Naked studs or cushion pieces. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try the whole bridge with the cushions on, which we'll have to stop calling cushions now and called, I don't know, girder tops. And see, you see, that's quite smooth. I do quite like that. It disguises it a bit more and makes it look less like Duplo. Though I'm sure I'm going to get loads of questions forevermore now. Where did you get those pieces? Or people will think it's a different toy or something like that and not proper Lego. But I only use proper Lego. Yeah, I like that. So that is very cool indeed. I'm going to leave them on for now. But I think it's very important. The next thing we do is some train testing. So I'm probably going to need to move the camera so you can actually see what's going on. But I'm super happy with this so far. Okay, well, here is an interesting view you haven't quite seen before, but we're obviously looking up the end of the tunnel, and I'm going to have to move just slightly to one side to get the train in. It's that long, or the carriage rather. So I'm going to feed this in as our test, and I deliberately picked the biggest one. Golly. Wow, that is close. Check that out. We do not have much clearance here. I think it would be a bit scary doing it with a cargo train, but with a passenger train, it does fit. Fantastic. And the fact that it looks so close, I mean, wow, ridiculously close, is probably a good thing because it will look relatively perilous and scary when it goes onto it. Yes, we've got about, I don't know, I suppose it's technically a stud, but it looks like less on either side. So it should be fine with the door handles on the Flying Knotsman. I'll have to test that one actually. And let's have it side on now. Oh yeah, it looks very close indeed. So you see the bit that's sort of sticking out at the side that's actually on top of the track pieces is, well, right down at wheel level essentially. So you never have anything sticking out too badly at that level. And yeah, the double-decker ones go almost to the top of the bridge, which I think is about right. We haven't got any cross beams to worry about. So yeah, I think that works. I think it's going to look really interesting with trains whizzing by. Now, the sad thing is that I don't have all of my tables set up for Brick Bay yet. This was just one of the things, well, one of the first things I needed to be able to do that, and one of the most interesting and most exciting that I just got the bits for. So I wanted to do that first, but we haven't actually got a complete loop that we can have trains running around on it either, and we probably won't for a while until we get a lot more tables in and I'm actually crawling into the standing space. But I think you'll agree that that is a very nice looking bridge, and the fact that it can support, well, all of my trains, I'm going to say in, well, inverted commas at the moment. But yeah, I think it will work with those door handles. They don't stick out that much, and it'll look even more scary when that one's whizzing through. And if the worst comes to the worst, we can always confine the Flying Knotsman to the second of my passenger loops. The one that is on the left as you walk into the Lego room it's currently on, which is the one that will go over this bridge, but I could always swap it onto the second loop that goes around the non-bridged side of the Lego room, so that wouldn't be a problem even if it does hit thinking about it. But yeah, tell me what you think about these cushions. I think I like them actually. Gives it a bit more solidness at the top as well as at the bottom. Otherwise it's a bit bottom heavy. But that is a pretty darn good looking bridge if you ask me. I declare the big new red bridge open! Da, 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 da. Ho, 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 look at that! That is rather magnificent, isn't it? Well, this bridge may be kind of completed in its own build, but it's not really open as such because the track just stops dead here. So anything going over it would career into nothingness. But I've just pulled this unit backwards to support it. In the future, there'll be another great big table going left to right on here in line with this table that will be at the same height as that unit that will actually support the bridge. That one will go back into its position more that way with its cross sections of the deep underground and the undersea. And that means we'll have a really big broad blue area for loads of boat scenes and stuff like that under and around it, cliffs right up to it on either side, and indeed we'll have the second rail line on the outside continuing along here, the cargo line, and going over the blue rail bridge, which needs rebuilding and extending and so on in due course. So yeah, what have I done since we were last in here? Well, I've extended both of these tracks, which we got up to about there, I think. I've done them all the way behind this row of modulars that I've brought down from upstairs. I may reorder those in due course, and that's kind of where I run out of pieces and time and base plates, I think, all at the same time. So I've just put this bit of straight in just to link it up so you can see. And yeah, I've tried one of the carriages from the Flying Nottingham, and my goodness, it's close with these door handles. Can you see that door handle there, right next to the red girders? It does actually pass, but we're talking about a millimetre clearance, I think, on either side. So I think in due course, I may not have that because it might sort of go with speed, sort of tip against it and hit. But yeah, that can go on the second loop, which will be going around that entire sort of half of the Lego room. And there's a good reason for doing that as well, is that I think the best train looks-wise for going across this is the white one. Because of the contrast in the colours, I think that looks really amazing. So I think the white train and the Flying Nottingham, which are currently sort of trains 2 and 3 in that heap, will get switched round, and we'll have them going on the different loops when they get onto table level. That just looks absolutely amazing if you ask me. And imagine that going through at a real high speed, real pace. It looked great with the pantographs going in between the higher bits seamlessly as well. Yeah, that looks absolutely great. Can't wait to get the loop completed and get that going around, but that looks absolutely amazing as a bridge now. Just going to hop outside to the main viewing angle. Yes, that looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, we'll have a blue bridge with a bigger, chunkier red bridge behind, and this careering around it. And you can see now we've got this really long unbroken bit of track there. You've got the car park coming out, the modular multi-storey car park going over one of the tracks, and then the 2 crossings there. We'll be having a third crossing, well, roughly around here, either there or there, I haven't decided yet, to get you into this whole neighbourhood, which will have another set of tables on top of the subway level to support, amongst other things, the airport, which will be a facade against that wall with the taking off aircraft coming out right here. So I think as soon as you come in to the Lego room, you'll see a great big subway station, then you'll see the airport, and then you'll see Brick Bay and these wonderful bridges. That'll look absolutely amazing. Really happy with that. Nice big size, nice big block of colour. Love it. Miles better than the old grey one. Well, I was hoping to keep this walkable gap in between all the units for as long as possible so I could walk into the Lego room rather than crawl into it to do work each time. But if I want to have a complete set of track going around here into the central station and have trains actually whizzing over this, then I'm going to need to block myself in and therefore crawl underneath it after all. So yeah, I might have to do that sooner rather than later now I look at this, because it looks so amazing. It's given me a lot more energy to get going. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Next week we'll not be doing a build video as I'm doing a week with the family, but the week afterwards we'll be doing another project that I've been collecting the bricks for. I'm thinking space station next, something on the ceiling, or maybe just some general progress to maybe link us from here up a little bit further as well would be welcome. Let me know what you'd like me to concentrate on in the comments section, and do let me know if you like this bridge, or if there are any improvements you can think to it, or if you really don't like those cushion pieces on the top. They look kind of rivety. Anyway, a riveting video, I think you'll agree. So until next time, see you! Yeah, this was a brilliant idea. Well done, Robin.